Okay, speaking of upgrade, this one for rawmikerichards.com is of huge significance, and you're going to find out why. A national sponsor has stepped up and said, we want to be a part of this. Someone's going to come on and join us on this program that you know very, very well, because he has done this for years. And finally, we have made this thing happy. So we are proud, after you watch this promo, because you're going to know what I'm talking about, that rawmikerichards.com and Sports Interaction are now on the same team. We talk to Stephen Rapp next.
Sports Interaction's strengths are its bonuses, deposit options, live betting, and market breadth. The best of the bunch is their Refer a Friend top-up, because it's limitless. You'll get up to $200 for every friend you bring in, and they'll get up to $100. So if you're into bragging rights, Sports Interaction will make it worth your while to get your buddies in on the fun. Sports Interaction gives you 9 ways to add money to your account, way more than most other North American books. Also, Sports Interaction doesn't charge depositing fees, so everything you put in is available to bet. Sports Interaction kills it here, designing their window as the perfect second screen. Its simple layout won't distract you from watching the game you're betting on, and the lines move in real time, so you can jump in on something the second it hits a value that makes sense for your strategy. Yes, it's a North American book, but it covers the planet. You can bet on European hockey, Chinese basketball, Korean baseball, and Aussie football. Not to mention soccer, golf, billiards, tennis, auto racing.
And there you have it. That is Sports Interaction, and representing them. Are you their secret agent? What are you? Are you bizarre?
I'm a marketing consultant, Michael. I make sure that the brand is well known in the amongst the country. I'm not an owner or anything like that. I'm what they call a marketing guy.
A market. That's a big hand for Stephen Rapp and Sports Interaction. Because I think this is the first time that I've actually been, we've worked together before when it was a previous book on TSN 1050 when they had ratings, but now it's Sports Interaction.
You obviously.
And
we brought the ratings with us in a bag.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you to look at the ratings, but you'd hurt your neck. It's a long way down. Here we've got Sports Interaction, and for the first time this morning, I went on and tried the site. And I've used a lot of sites in my time. It was just a breeze, Stephen. I mean, I don't know who's responsible. I mean, I'm sure you're going to tell me who's responsible for the makeup of it. But the key, I think, for people who maybe haven't done this before, they've never gone online. Maybe they're former pro line players, or they're still unfortunately playing things like pro line or across the country. This is the easiest transition they're going to find on any book out there. I did it, and for me, in trying to look at games and handicapping, it might take 45 minutes or an hour, depending on what I'm looking at. This was probably 20 minutes, and the way that it was laid out, the way that it works with your actual eyeballs, and the I guess the logistics of going to the site, and that's what I'd say when you're going to use this, and this is the book we want you to use. You're going to say, at least I know what the response is going to be on Twitter. I know what it is. Oh my God, was this easy?
Well, first of all, you mentioned the pro line bettors, and the fact is that you can play single game wagering, so you don't have to play a 3-team parlay. That's going to be your first benefit. So if you like the Bills to cover, which I don't know why you would, but if you like the Bills to cover, you can play them individually. If you're going to play parlays, you're going to get true odds on a parlay. You're going to get 10-1 on a 3-team parlay, and not 7 or 7.5-1, whatever they play on pro line. So you're going to get a true odds, true Vegas odds, true options. And then the options, you're going to get the thousands and thousands of in-play wagering, live wagering, halftime wagering, hundreds and hundreds of props for every game, especially, basically every game's like Super Bowl for the Sunday night and the Monday night games. So you're going to get more and more options than you would get from going to your local milk store and putting down your $2. And it's just easy to use. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your tablet. You can do it on your laptop. It's just fun to play.
No, I believe you recognize this young man beside me, a young David Bastel.
Yes, when I walked in there, I actually thought it might have been Sunday morning and I overslept. Yes, David and I do a little show together on Sunday mornings inside the lines, and we break down all the numbers, all the games, and we do it from a gambling perspective. And we try to make degenerates out of everybody.
Which is why I was going to say that's why we're
here.
Yeah, that's why you're on the show. Now, is it only in Toronto on the Fan, or are you on in other markets as well?
We are on Calgary 960, and we are in Vancouver 650 on the new station. So, we're kind of making our way across Canada now on the Sportsnet radio network, as they call it. And that's good. One thing I should mention about Sports Interaction, which is interesting, is they are owned by the Mohawk of Kanawake. They have been doing this since the mid-'90s. They actually did the Mohawk Internet technology, and basically all of the biggest casinos, sportsbook, poker sites that you've been playing in the world since the mid-'90s were regulated by the Kanawake Gaming Commission out of Kanawake in Montreal.
So they're like front runners really in this.
Mohawk Internet Technologies hosted all the biggest. You remember the Golden Palaces and Poker Stars and Poker. All those places were hosted within the Mohawk Internet Technology Park in Ganawake, which is about 10 minutes outside of Montreal. So their management, their customer service, everything, it's English speaking, it's Canadian regulated, it's out of Montreal with a Canadian staff. It's regulated by the Kanawake Gaming Commission and the Jersey Channel Gambling Commission. So against money laundering, fraud, everything, they use the highest of standards. And it's a Mohawk socioeconomic initiative, which means all the money that the profits that are made from that go back into the Mohawk community
wow.
To help the Mohawk Nation. And so it's not only it's a great. You're not betting with a Costa Rican book. You're not betting with a St. Kitts, St. Martin, something like that. You're betting with a book that is actually in Canada on Canadian soil. And
the only one, correct?
The only one. And of course, the Mohawks have been doing. It's in their heritage. They've been doing gambling since before the European settlements.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms as the Mohawks, as part of their heritage, that they are allowed to do.
See, because people ask that all the time. Like when you watch a movie, whether it's in the States, it's always about the first that we saw were Indian casinos. That's the reason why. Because it's in their Charter of Rights. The Charter of Rights. The
Charter of Rights allows them to do the things that are in their heritage and that they've been doing for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. This is, gambling is something that they've been doing for hundreds of years, and that is, Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
How does this book compare to?
Why is that?
Which one is
Russell? Why is that not on? Is this? Is it that on?
I'm on. Yeah.
Okay, that's not even on. That's not. I'm gonna do it here.
Okay. Jeez, that's
high tech.
Way to go, Russell. You've worked with a lot of books. How does this compare to some of the other books? And we don't have to get into some of the names because we'll be here for a while, but how does that actually compare? Because it seems that this site keeps on improving year after year after year. And even this year with the NFL kickoff last week in New England, you had tons of promotions going on with it, and it just keeps on getting better and better.
Well, they're keeping improving their technology. They're at the leading forefront of technology, and their in-game wagering, their live in-play wagering, the stuff that's happening as games are going on. Those, hundreds and hundreds of options, and you'd be happy with this, Mike. You can bet on sports like European women's handball. I know you're a big European women's handball fan.
If you saw the Danish national team, you'd know why I bet on it.
Well, I'm sure you do, and you could bet on the Danish national team on this site. No, it's just they really put a lot of effort into their technology. So the site, whether you're using it on mobile or you're using it on desktop, is just real easy to use. And the options, and the fact that it is based in Canada, is based just outside of Montreal. You're dealing with English speaking representatives. Your banking is easier. Your getting money in is easier. Getting money out is easier.
Well, see, it's all those things. So now, even though we're going to do our picks, the Victor Newman picks, all that stuff is going to be tomorrow. I just want to give you an example of what I did this morning and what I found out, because I was doing it, honestly, folks, for the first time. I mean, I've known Stephen for years. Actually, own him a Chinese food dinner based on
I didn't want to bring
just
that
a
up, but
horrible.
you are a bit of a welcher. I don't want to bring it up to your listeners.
I've never bet on the Dallas Cowboys in my life. I don't know what I was thinking.
I remember the bet too.
Dallas,
I had
Dallas.
Seattle plus the points against Dallas.
Yeah.
You bet me at a restaurant that no longer exists. That's how long the bet was.
Well, that's a shame.
And obviously, I haven't gone without a meal in those times. But I do.
No, we're gonna get that fixed for sure. I look forward to that one.
Because I know I have held off on breaking your kneecap. At this point.
I'm not really going to worry about that part. I will say that, again, in doing this, so I'm going to play a little of our exciting music here. Now, if you go to it on screen, if you're watching it, these are the games that I picked. The cool thing about that is not only after I made the parlay, I've never seen this on any book before, I've never seen it. They send a receipt to your email address, not only on what I deposited and what I had in there, but they also send a receipt of, and you can see it on the screen now, of the actual parlay that I made and the possible payout. I've never seen that
Well,
before.
you want to confirm. It's a double confirmation just to make sure that you didn't make it. Because once you've confirmed and that's your wager, it's your wager. It's not getting changed. So they just want to make sure that that wager is the one you wanted to make. No mistakes being made.
It was really efficient, and like as I said, I'm finding it for the first time I'm doing it. So if you take a look at the play that I actually made, so what do I got there? Roast beef. It's as you know.
2017 probably.
It's 7 games, which is
what's shocking to me that you would do a 2017.
7 games.
Like
it's 7 games, which is at least it's
I
a
don't
short
know how
one.
you can lose. I don't know why they just don't pay.
Well, I
it
won't.
now,
I think
to be honest
they're not
with
going to enjoy the fact that I'm going to win my first week, but it
They will
is
enjoy it.
that easy. So I've got my
you know
first.
what? They know those big towers in Vegas.
Yeah.
They made them on
Yeah.
guys betting 17
Yeah,
parlays.
well,
You know that.
yeah, whatever. I like to give. Here we go. Here's the first game I've got. It's Iowa State and Akron. I think the actual number is 10.5. So I want to see, okay, if I'm going to tease it, because I don't like that number necessarily, because now they're talking 2 touchdowns. So I teased it to minus 9.5. Iowa State took Iowa into double overtime, 2 mini games
You
last
teased it
time.
from when? From where?
From 10.5 to 9.5. So I go under the 10.
You teased it a point?
I teased it a point. Well, wait till you see the payout. Baylor at Duke. How anyone is betting on Baylor for anything aside from
I didn't even know you could
being arrested. It is minus 14, but the reason I'm not worried about that number is
because you teased it to what?
It could be that could be minus 22.5. I probably would still take it. Baylor can't beat anybody, and when I mean anybody, I'm talking about Liberty. Do you know where Liberty is? That school?
I'm guessing Pennsylvania.
Don't worry about it. UCLA at Memphis minus 3. UCLA is got a Heisman quality quarterback. Memphis is a decent team, but minus 3. They'll have no problem covering that on the road. Oklahoma State at Pittsburgh. Pitt. Don't get romanticized by some of those teams over the years that look pretty good. Pitt is not a very good team. Oklahoma State will score some points at minus 13. I love it under 2 touchdowns. That is the 4th of my college games. Also, I'm going to take a look at the CFL. See, I'm going all over just so you can play whatever you want to play. It's not my favorite number, but Saskatchewan at Hamilton, it's minus 5. Hamilton's had 2 very successful weeks. Very successful.
Johnny Manziel.
It ends now. It will be over. Saskatchewan's going to score a lot of points, and as much as Masoli played well in 2 games, he's not going to do it again.
Is that going to open a pathway for Johnny Manziel to show up?
Oh, Johnny Manziel? Sure. Well, they tried to get Art Briles. Why not go after...
Well, Manziel's now said, on the clock, either sign me, trade me, or release me. He's ready to play. Suppose he's been clean for 6 months.
He'll be running
he
that.
Wants to play.
If he doesn't, he'll be running that board beside roast beef in a couple of weeks. And then finally, just to show people what it's like, you've got a little Premiership. If you want to play the Prem, that's easy. I've got Manchester United and Everton. I like Manchester United and the over 2.5. It's really easy to find, by the way. It's a common wager that footy fans would make. It's a match bet in total, they call it.
Over 2.5 in a soccer game.
Over 2.5. Well, they'll probably get that on their own.
Is that over like 3-week period, or is that just one game, 2.5?
You're making fun of people making a wagering on soccer? Seriously?
He's not a big soccer guy.
Not a big soccer over fan. No,
Don't.
2.5. That's like a whole week's worth of goals.
They'll
A
get
month
that. They'll get that themselves. So that's why I say take Man U and the over 2.5. And then finally today, you want to play Europa? You can play the Europa League. So Villarreal against Lokomotiv Astana. Not sure what Astana is. It doesn't matter. Only one team's going to score, and that's the wager that you can make on Sports Interaction. It's a great one. Only one team to score. On $5, it pays a delicious $418.
There you go, which is the true odds of that wager, not what Proline would play if you want to just be completely.
Yeah, I don't even know what that would. I mean, obviously,
pay a lot less.
that Oklahoma State number would be so far over that you're going to have to basically hope that they get 21 points.
You would be happy to know. I'm sure you saw the email this morning that Sports Interaction has set up a site so that your listeners can support you and Sports Interaction by going to sportsinteraction.com/raw, and that way. We'll know that your listeners are supporting you and supporting Sports Interaction, your sponsor. So and we'll be able to know, Because we expect that, you got a hell of a listener base, and they're all going to just come flocking over.
And make sure that you do. And even if you want to, you go to rawmikeRichards.com. You're going to see the links right there for Sports Interaction. You click on it, and it will say, how did you hear about us? Raw Mike Richards is right on there. I want you to click that. And I want you to go there for this weekend in particular. So tomorrow, not only do Dave and I do our bets here on rawmikeRichards.com, but they want to see or listen to your show on The Fan here in Toronto.
Sunday mornings, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. And this is going to be a great little thing for all three of us. I mean, Sports Interaction, the fact that Dave does a show with us on Sunday mornings, and now your relationship with you. We're just going to turn the world into gamblers.
You had to think about that word for a second.
What we're going to turn
There's
the world into.
rawmikerichard.com. You can pretty much say anything you want. You can say whatever you want. And you have on and off, but starting at The Fan, what year was that you were on The Fan? First
we
year?
did it Inside the Line, started in 2001.
2001.
2001 we've been doing this since, and we had a little couple-year break in between a couple years ago, but we are back and doing it well and picking winners. I think one of us had a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, one of us out of the three had a good week. We'll get that on Sunday.
Move forward.
Let's talk about the Thursday nighter. The Houston Texans are 6-point dogs. That's a lot of points in Cincinnati. An offense that did not score a point against the Baltimore Ravens. That was one of my disappointments of week one, that Cincinnati decided to go out there and crap the bed and not score a point in week one.
Open 3.5. Lots of sharp money, real sharp money coming in on Cincinnati. Moved this number to 6.5. A little bit of buyback now. It's to 6. Total open 38.5. Now down to 38. Let's see. We've got a rookie quarterback making his first start, which is also on the road with a sprained ankle on a short week. With no offensive line. What could possibly go wrong there?
Sounds like a tremendous upset.
What could possibly go wrong? Listen, there's just too many variables there to go with Deshaun Watson and the dog Texans in that one. I would lean to Cincinnati. I mean, we've obviously missed the best number. Yeah. Cincinnati, 8 of their last 9 games has gone under the total. Total is low at 38, but like I said, I can't see much scoring from Houston, and Houston still got a great defense. Cincinnati got 0 points last game. I know it's a low number at 38, but if I had to pick a side or a total in that one, I would probably lean to the under 38 and Cincinnati laying the points. You
should also explain something here too. Again, if you've not done this on a regular basis, you mentioned about missing the best number. Now, because of when your show is on, you have to go with the number that is available at that time.
Exactly.
And I guess historically would say some of the sharper individuals, they jump in early, don't they?
Yeah, the professional money comes in during the week and it moves a number. You're not going to do well what they call chasing steam or chasing a number. So, like for this example here, Cincinnati opened 3. It's been moving up as the week goes on to now 6.5. You now lay 6. How many times have you seen Cincinnati will win by 4 or 5 and you'll lose because you've chased a number? So you really don't want to chase a number. So if you're a Cincinnati player tonight, you've probably missed the best of the number. So you might want to look at Cincinnati in a money line dog with something else that you like this weekend and not get middled up in that missed number, because the sharp money's taking all the good number from you.
Exactly. Now, when you take a look, and again, for those that are going to watch or download the show tomorrow or listen on Fan 590 on Sunday, people are looking at that New England game. And so New England and New Orleans, what's the total now? It's under 60 still.
It's 51, I think.
Is it that low?
Yeah. Let me just
check that, because
I'm gonna have to throw on. I'm a little older than you. I'll throw on my glasses.
So we're going to take a look at that number, because
56.5. The 56.5 total.
56.5.
Gone up from 54.5. The point spread now, New England is a 7-point favorite, open 6.5. So there has been a little bit of, and that's been mostly public action on New England moving that number. A lot of public's obviously going to love New England.
Yes, and the public, and the public's probably, they like taking overs. I mean, that's kind of
favorites and over. That's the rule.
Kind of a square
bet,
right?
Overs are public. Dogs and unders are more professional money.
You saw the problems that New Orleans had still offensively. They're not on the same page. They had receivers running all over the place, and trust me, it's not Drew Brees' fault. It's just who he's working with. So they may not be that offensive juggernaut week number 2 that people are thinking, okay, if it's under 60, I mean, we're going to take this for sure. Bill Belichick is an efficient coach. He just wants to win. If he could win 1-0 and he knew he could do it, he would do it. That's not necessarily a track meet team. So when you take a look at a number going up, that's the public, I'm assuming, pushing that up. At some point, does it get attractive, even though people are a little in love with New Orleans historically for going over, but it's not that team. Are you tempted by the under?
Yeah, I'm tempted to buy on the under in that game. First of all, Chris Hogan is no Julian Edelman for New England, the offense. They did not look that good on offense. Obviously, they looked out of sync. We don't know if another week will get them on sync. They've had 10 days rest to prepare for this one. New Orleans hasn't.
Short week for them.
Yeah, a little bit of a short week for New Orleans playing on a Monday night. But I just think that the opening number of this, some of the numbers popped up 4.5 New England earlier in the week, and then it kind of came down after the Monday night New Orleans performance and went back up at 7. I do think the real number is probably closer to the 4.5 and 5. And if you had to ask me for a pool or anything, who I would take New Orleans plus the 7 points. Wouldn't be one of my favorite bets of the weekend.
No.
But I think the numbers could gotten a little bit out of control. I think 7's too much for New England on the road.
Couple heavy numbers a little bit later on in the afternoon with the Jets, 13-point favorites. That should be more like 17.5-point favorites. San Francisco, 14-point dogs, and Seattle. I don't see any of these teams covering those numbers, and that's a lot of points to lay. And I know you're against double-digit laying.
Well, I won't be laying those points with the favorites. As a matter of fact, I did a couple pool plays today, and I did lay the favorites in both those games. Well, just kind of see what we're going to get this year. I mean, the Jets are historically bad. I mean, sorry, David.
It's okay.
Sorry, David.
Works now.
Does it
Are
work
you kidding
okay?
me?
No?
Works now.
All right.
Jets are historically extremely.
They don't do well in Oakland when they have a good team. It's tradition.
Well, I've been reading, suicide picks, survivor
Sure.
picks, whatever
Right,
you call
right.
them. People are just saying this week, just don't even bother going against the sheep. Just everybody's going to be in Oakland. This is their next easiest game. I think they got Miami in week 12, so this is the best place to play Oakland. You're going to want to play Oakland this week.
Yep.
They really can't lose against, and you can ask a Jets fan like David Bastel here, the Jets can't win this game.
See, and it depends too, because there are certain trends in different leagues, even if it's the same sport. So that's why sometimes when people say, "How come you take such big numbers in college?" Well, aside from maybe Wisconsin last week, who were horrible, I don't know what they were thinking, but generally, when they have they throw the lambs into these monstrous programs. That's why those numbers inflate so much. And for the most part, because of the way that the playoff schedule is set up, I can't just beat Arkansas Pine Bluff by 21 points. I can't, because they went in USC and they did the same thing and they won by 50. I got to win by 52. And as the season gets on, it does get a little harder to cover those big numbers. But depending on, what that previous team has lost by, I have to kind of beat that. That's the line of sand. So I take a look at, again, Akron played Arkansas Pine Bluff. They're not going to win a lot of games, but they won that one. Like, they covered the 49 points or whatever it is. Arkansas Pine Bluff, I don't think had enough players. I think they went with the 8 of the people who weren't studying, and that's what they put on the field. Now they have to play Iowa State this week. Iowa State went toe-to-toe with their rival, Iowa. It goes to the second of the mini game, so double overtime. They're a good, decent team. For them, under a couple of touchdowns, I mean, they could cover that by the first quarter. And that's why I look at some of those things. And you talked about double digits, and you talk about, Oakland. I'm looking at that matchup and what they have, and maybe also what they have to prove, week number 2 in relation to what's going on with the current history of the team, I would say. So for Oakland to go out and win by 10 points over the Jets, I don't know why. I don't see why they don't cover that number.
Well, I think they go out. I mean, if they go out to score 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, which is
It's
very
over.
easy, it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, Jets can't come back. Jets can't score on them.
Now, do you ever take for instance, on the books? Would you ever take? Because I know mostly you talk about the game, right? You talk about the whole game. Do you ever talk about? I like them first half.
Oh yeah,
minus,
of course. There are times when you want
yeah.
a team first half. You have a team like in this position, like in this game here, you're probably going to get Oakland 6.5, 7 points in the first half.
I was going to say 8.5.
8.5. They're gonna go out big lead and cruise in the second half.
Right.
There's a perfect example. And you were talking about teams can't put players in the field. We should mention that about Houston tonight. They have 7 guys in concussion protocol, 2 tight ends, a couple offensive linemen.
1 suspended as well.
Yeah, so you're talking about
linebacker
guys
suspended.
not being played. I just want to bring that up again on Houston tonight. They might not even be able to field a team.
Yep.
So
we want you to go to, and once again, you can start, it's live right now. The links are live. So go to the website. You can go to ronmickrichards.com, click on the sports interaction, and I believe it's 100%.
100% bonus on your initial deposit up to $200.
Right,
So,
that's awesome.
Yes, you're going to get 100% bonus on your money, so you're going to get an extra some money to play with. Obviously, we're doing it for entertainment purposes. It's about fun. Bet with your head.
Yeah, fun.
God damn it, it's fun.
Akron kicks the field goal, and we're tied. What?
As remotes go flying through the
It sure is fun.
Yeah, my blood pressure.
I'm a grandfather now, and my son-in-law watches games with his young baby in his arms, and I've seen him throw remotes, and I just kind of go and I take my granddaughter away when it's just so he doesn't mistake the baby for a remote control and watch it splattered against the wall.
Oh, I get it. So once again, so thrilled to have you on board, Stephen. It's great to be back on the same team again, which is awesome, and we certainly appreciate that. As we have a lot to be happy for early in the existence of ronmickrichards.com, but to me, this is a real line in the sand for us, Stephen. Not only to partner up with you, but to have the communication. Although I will say, I'm pretty sure if I'm betting over under on the fact that you will ever see Stephen in this studio again, take the under. Take the under.
The traffic in the city is pretty bad.
No, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good.
Maybe if you reserve me a parking spot out front, maybe I'll be.
Of course, we see what we can do.
Maybe let my name on something.
Or we'll move into our part of the neighborhood and do a remote show.
I would love to move downtown Toronto. Unfortunately,
I'm saying out in the hinterland.
Maybe
move
out
there.
Yeah,
sure, we'll do.
Be good. We can do that. Yeah,
absolutely. We can do what we
my-
want. So thanks so much.
basement.
What's that? Your basement?
Do a remote from my basement.
Oh, for your basement. Yeah, that's what people want. Yeah, I never heard of a show being done over someone's basement before. So thank you so much for doing that today. We appreciate it. And once again, go to the site, log in. It is so easy to do. And as the one thing that really struck me about it is, a bunch of these things, you're not sure where it stands. I mean, Bet365 has always been like really professional, like unbelievable.
I was with them for 7 years. It's a professional company.
It's kind of like the Apple of that world, isn't it? I mean, that's sort of the gold standard, I would say. I mean, he worked for them for 7 years. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, no, they're a great company, and Sports Interaction is very much the same thing. They have the exact same options, things that you can do, amount of bets you can make, and you're really supporting a good cause with the Mohawks and the socioeconomic initiative. So that's another reason why you want to get in there and help them out.
Only restrictions for our American friends?
No Americans.
I'd love to help you there. I would. My American friends, I'd love to help you, but unfortunately.
Well, Americans can talk to their government and get their head out of the ass regarding gambling. I can say that, can I?
Sure you can.
Okay, good.
There's a lot of things they have to talk to their government about. I don't know if that's going to be the first one.
I don't want to get to that. I've already blown out all my Facebook friends.
Ask him who he bet on election night. That's a good story.
I thought that was
right there.
free money.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as free money, Mike.
Sports Interaction, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I'd like to thank Stephen Rapp, who is now, I guess, a full-fledged Hall of Fame member of ronmickrichards.com.
That was fast induction.
As is Sports Interaction. Yeah, it is great. Also, of those we want to thank here today, great catching up with Devo, Devon White, former Blue Jay, and, of course, Ally Frady up in Midhurst, Ontario, as they participate in the Easter Seals Slow Pitch Tournament, their second annual. We've got more stuff coming tomorrow, another big announcement. Actually, there's 2 more announcements tomorrow. We're going to do it all again next week. Okay. It gets big and better. And I go to Sports Interaction and sign up today. Do that.
What? We just become best friends?
Yep.